Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
Welcome to the Double R Show, Double R along with son Paul and Jenna, and today we'll have an opportunity to have a United States Congresswoman on board with us.
Yeah, we're excited. We had an interview with her just last week, and so we're going to air 3 little segments of that interview today. So,
It is amazing how forward-coming she is in her deliberations.
Yeah, Congresswoman Val Hoyle was very stern in her presentation, I would say, and of course we caught her at an opportune time to have some information to share with the public here.
So Congresswoman Val Hoyle on board the Double R Show right after this.
Books and puzzles have one thing in common. Bob's Beach Books in the Ocean Lake area of Lincoln City. Books for every interest, books by authors from around the world and across the street. Visit Bob's Beach Books so you can say, I have read a good book lately.
If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries.
Don't miss the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert February 28th at Chinook Winds. For tickets, go to ChinookWinds.com. The Neil Diamond Legacy Concert at Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
We welcome to the Double R Show Oregon's 4th Congressional District Representative, Congresswoman Val Hoyle. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
This is really an honor for us to have you here because the district you represent is huge.
It really is. Not as big as the Eastern Oregon district, but it's the 2nd largest in the state. And I tell some of my East Coast colleagues who complain about their commute that, my district is 2.5 times the size of the state of New Jersey. So they should not complain. And then they stop complaining.
Doesn't take long to get rid of that, right? You, right now, probably not had an opportunity to formulate any opinions, but as of this morning, the news is talking about all of the items that the president has had that the Supreme Court has overturned. Any comments that you've been able to...
Yeah, actually, my background is in international trade, and I'm the former chairperson of the Export Council of Oregon and Southwest Washington, which is the group that helps small businesses in Oregon learn how to export and get support for exporting. We are an export-dependent state.
Sure.
Whether it's agriculture or manufacturing or, any number of things. So in the last recession, exports in Oregon was the only sector of our economy that stayed strong. So I have 25 years experience in sales, manufacturing, distribution, and trade. Mm-hmm. So, and I am a very strong fair trade person. I did not support NAFTA. I believe that we need trade agreements that are beneficial to American jobs, American workers, American businesses, and, that we look at our trade deficit. What President Trump has done is just has this erratic trade policy where somebody hurts his feelings or he gets a notion for something and then all of a sudden throws tariffs in a way that are really erratic and inconsistent. It is not the kind of foreign policy that is good for business. It's not good for workers, and it's not good for consumers. We're paying more. And we've lost over 80,000 manufacturing jobs in the last year. So that trade policy is not working. Things cost more. What just happened was the Supreme Court rightfully said that setting tariffs is the role of Congress. So there's 3 separate and equal branches of government. And Congress is supposed to set tariffs, right? You have an executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. The Supreme Court said, just like many of us have said, Congress gets to do that. You as the president can't. The response from President Trump this morning was absolutely unhinged. Instead of saying, he took the same oath to obey the Constitution that I did. Instead of saying, well, this is the way it ought to be, he attacked personal members of the Supreme Court, saying he appointed Gorsuch, he appointed Judge Amy Coney Barrett, and that they should do what he wants. Like, he is a unilateral executive. And that, I don't care what party you're in, that should make everybody step back and say, what the hell is going on here?
Why hasn't anybody challenged that?
Well, a number of us have, and...
or has it not gotten the publicity it should have gotten?
No, I mean, first of all, there was a majority in Congress, and quite frankly, I do not think that Speaker Mike Johnson has done his job to stand up as that separate leader of a separate and equal branch of government. Like, it is not his job to bow down to the president. It is his job to be a check and a balance. And whether we agree or disagree politically, fundamentally, we have a role. Now, what's been happening is more and more Republicans are standing up to say, wait a minute, these trade policies are hurting my district, whether it's farmers or manufacturers or consumers. And so we're starting to have what's called a discharge petition, which is when the speaker says, I will not bring a vote to the floor. You need 218 votes to pass something. We get Democrats and Republicans, because you need both, to sign a petition to bring the bill to the floor and just override the speaker. And we're seeing more and more of this, whether it's on trade and tariffs or it's on the War Powers Act, saying Congress is the one that gets to declare war. It's not, the president has to come to Congress if he is going to declare war, except in an emergency.
Are we on the brink of war with what's happening right now in the Middle East again?
Yes. There in Cuba, we're seeing a blockade there where they are out of power. We have military in Cuba. The president has threatened Colombia, Mexico, Greenland, Iran. We are staging our military in Iran. And quite frankly, if we're going to put boots in the ground, if we're going to put American soldiers to war on the ground fighting, then that should come to Congress and the people should have a chance to weigh in. Because I will tell you what, it's not President Trump's kids or grandkids that are going to fill those boots. Those are our kids that are going to fill those boots, and we should have a voice. But are we on the brink of war there? Yes. And again, the policy should be what is good for the people of the United States. And right now, the people of the United States deserve to have a thoughtful foreign policy and tariff policy. So do I have opinions about this? Why, yes, I do.
Good. The vote was 6-3. Does that surprise you?
No.
Why?
It doesn't. This isn't a conservative or liberal issue, right? What we have seen is that Judge Coney Barrett, Judge Roberts have been, have been more consistent in not just voting in lockstep with the president that we've seen Scalia and Clarence Thomas do. I mean, you just they have taken the position that the president is a unilateral executive and their job is to support him. It seems. Justice Gorsuch is very conservative, but also, I mean, he had a very well-written and thoughtful dissent, and fundamentally, their job is to interpret the law and the Constitution, and I think this is pretty clear. Now the question is, what happens to that money? So the next step is making sure the tariffs that were collected get back to the businesses. Like, I have a business in Eugene. They import a lot of parts and things from China. They ordered all of their annual stock to try and get here before tariffs came in. While that boat was on the water, 147% tariff was levied. So they had to pay 147% tariff, over doubling their costs. So they were going to have to sell things at a loss, and there was nothing they could do. This is a small business that employs, they employ about 40 people in Eugene.
Crippled them.
Yeah, and it crippled them. But the owner said, what am I supposed to do? She deserves to get that money back because the Supreme Court said this is unconstitutional. And so for our importers, now we have to figure out, how do we give that money back? And does that money, which could happen, I got very early this morning to, because my phone was blowing up, and does that money go to the USDA? Does the president say, I'm just going to give it to the people I like and not the people I don't like, which is crazy.
Does that go back to Congress?
It should go back to Congress,
spending the money?
Because we are the appropriators. But again, what we have seen in this executive branch and this administration is that they are taking the position that they are the unilateral executive, and they are pushing the boundaries and saying, we're going to do these things, and then you can sue us to stop it. So it remains to be seen what happens, but I do know that there is bipartisan support for making our importers whole, for helping to make sure that our exporters can actually compete in international markets. Because understand, when you lose a market, right? Somebody says, all right, your product is too expensive or whatnot, and they find another customer. Burnt bridges are hard to walk across, and it's hard to get those markets back.
Our guest is Congresswoman Val Hoyle. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of the Double R Show right after this.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call, 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service.
Home-style cooking in a hometown atmosphere. Hi, I'm Adina from Zeller's Restaurant in Rose Lodge in Lincoln City. Join us daily for good fun and great food. You can even kick up your heels at Zeller's.
Our guest on the Double R Show is Congresswoman Val Hoyle, Oregon's 4th Congressional District Representative since 2023.
Right, January of 2023.
Do you enjoy it?
That's an interesting question. It's kind of a bit of cognitive dissonance. It's an honor, and this district is one of the few districts in the country, and I think to the detriment of our political system, where you can't get elected by just Democrats or just Republicans. I mean, so many districts have been gerrymandered to be just red or just blue, and you have elected officials that don't have to talk to people who think differently than them or vote differently than them, or, like over 40% of the voters in this district aren't Democrats or Republicans. Right, they're not affiliated. They're Constitution Party, Libertarians, Green Party members, right? Mm-hmm. So,
but you're still their congressperson.
I am their congressperson, so I make an effort to visit with people, and listen to people, and work to serve people across the political spectrum. Just focusing on being practical and doing what's right for working people, for my small businesses, for my farmers, right? And so the job, as I said, it's an honor of a lifetime to be able to do it. So it's fascinating and interesting, and we make a real difference in the lives of people. Also, again, cognitive dissonance, while that's happening and we day to day go through, I think that what's happening at the federal level to our country, and the divisiveness and just the bizarre nature of things that are happening to our government, it's terrifying, and it's wrong. Is that top
down?
It's top down, yes. Because it is top down, and it's, we have a population that is getting their news differently. You and I grew up in a time when there were 3 different news stations. You listen to Walter Cronkite, and you and I might have different, or Dan Rather, we'd have different ideas on what he said. Right. But we didn't have different facts. And so now we're getting news through social media. You have Fox News that openly admits it's entertainment, not news. But people have different facts, and you have a social media algorithm that is set up to keep people outraged and to keep people divided and to keep people thinking that, people who disagree with them are bad people. And that is fed by an administration where the president clearly stated that he has to deal with Congress and he only will deal with the Republicans. That's not, you can have people be partisan and have presidents be partisan, but they should represent the whole country. And that isn't what's happening. And they're working to break our federal government, to privatize and sell our public lands, to privatize our VA, to break the post office and then say it's not working, so we should sell it off to the highest bidder. I mean, the things that are happening, and then I'll just bring it up because this, again, not a Republican or a Democratic issue. We should hold pedophiles accountable. If you're an adult that rapes a child, we should all agree that those people should be held accountable. And the cover-up that is happening with, protecting people in power who
Nobody's
worked with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, that is going to be a stain on the future of our country. But this is what fascism looks like. I mean, look at England. Prince Andrew was arrested, yesterday. Right? As of yesterday. Rightfully so. It doesn't matter who you are. From king to commoner, the law is the law. So it's a scary time, and I feel honored to be there. Am I having fun? That's not the word I'd use to describe it, but it's interesting, and I feel a great responsibility to be a voice of a district this diverse in these times.
As a Democrat, do you have much clout?
I mean, when you're in the minority, you're in the minority. And we have an administration that is working to push just partisan laws and bills and whatnot. However, I happen to be on two committees that are rather practical. The Transportation Infrastructure Committee operates in a bipartisan way and is the most functional committee in Congress because the chair, Sam Graves out of Missouri, ranking member, highest ranking Democrat, is Rick Larson out of Washington. We're going to pass a transportation infrastructure package. We've been working very closely with the Department of Transportation under Sean Duffy, right? Like bridges and roads. We passed an FAA reauthorization. We're working on upgrading our air traffic control system. That is functional. So we don't have full control, but we're able to get things done. And that feels pretty good. And then I'm on the Natural Resources Committee, on the Indian and Indigenous Affairs Committee, very bipartisan. And then on other things, well, we have less agreement, but we can get small things done. I think being on transportation infrastructure has felt pretty productive.
While you were here in Oregon all of the time, you were active in the transportation issues.
Right, I was.
So that's nothing new to you.
No, and again, working in manufacturing, distribution, and international trade, I worked with all manner of intermodal transportation. And then coming in after Peter DeFazio, who's the former chairperson of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, he lives 7 miles away from me, sort of as the crow flies. We meet in the middle at the public house. I buy him a beer, and he gives me a lot of advice. And you know what? There is nobody better. I am extremely lucky that my predecessor is willing to spend the time to make sure that not just I'm successful, but the people of this district are able to get what they need. And he is incredibly well respected in D.C. on both sides of the aisle.
Since transportation is a foremost topic taking place right now, center stage in Salem.
Right.
Do you have any comments in reference to what's happening with the transportation bill in Salem?
Well, that's a mess.
Okay.
I mean, it is a mess. I've talked with Representative Gomberg quite extensively about this. And by the way, Representative Gomberg is, again, talk about highly respected. That guy works all day long. He is practical. He is functional. He works to get things done for the district. But I was the majority leader when we passed the transportation package, and we worked on it for an entire year. It was bipartisan. Cliff Bentz, who serves with me in Congress, was a very big part of that. We knew in April of last year that this package, because you didn't have a deal yet, was going to go sideways. And it's too important to not have it done right. So I am disappointed in the legislature. But I do have to say that David Gomberg has been a voice of reason, and as frustrated as I am, I know that he's 10 times more frustrated because he's in the middle of it. And the people of the state of Oregon, deserve for our state leaders to do, in the legislature, to do better, right? The governor can sign what comes out of the legislature, and we just honestly need to do better.
Going to take a break. We'll be back and get some closing comments from Congresswoman Val Hoyle, Democrat, Oregon, serving Oregon's 4th District.
I'm Josh Zantello with Zantello Law Group, and we are fortunate to have a number of attorneys in our office that specialize in a variety of law fields. Call our office and set up a free consultation. With our field of experts, you're never alone.
You're invited to join the members and friends of the Congregational Church at 2345 Northwest Orr Place in Lincoln City for this Sunday's Holy Communion, a hopeful sign of the promised realm of God marked by justice, love, and peace. The communion table is open to anyone and everyone. Join us Sunday at the Congregational Church in Lincoln City, 2345 Northwest Orr Place, directly west of Grocery Outlet.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
Our guest is Congresswoman Val Hoyle, Democrat, Oregon, serving Oregon's 4th Congressional District, focusing on progressive policies including reproductive rights, climate change, infrastructure, and labor. That's quite a handle.
Yeah, it's a lot. But, I mean, it all comes back to being good stewards of the resources that we're given, whether that's our land, whether, it's workforce. I've always believed in, as labor commissioner, I had support from both business and labor. I don't think to be successful in business, you have to be anti-worker. And you have to have business to have jobs. And so I approached being labor commissioner of holding bad actors accountable so people who were doing the right thing, businesses that were operating well, didn't have to compete with people that weren't. But whether it's taxpayer dollars, again, being good stewards of taxpayer dollars, or our natural resources at this time, working with our tribal nations. I mean, it all comes back to the same thing, which is being responsible stewards of what we are given.
What keeps you up late at night on issues?
What keeps me up late at night is I'm a student of history.
Okay.
I'm a student of history, and I saw what happened with fascism, whether we saw it, in Italy, we saw it in Germany, we saw, autocratic regimes that, whether it was Russia, whether it was Cambodia and other places. And when we have an administration that is literally building an unaccountable army, and I talk to people in law enforcement, I've talked to people that have been long time working for ICE or, previously worked with immigration, and they've said what ICE is doing is not what any responsible law enforcement officer would do. So what we're seeing is that this administration is building up their own unaccountable army and pulling people off the street and putting them in private prisons. These companies who paid millions of dollars into Trump's election. And I can tell you, the conditions are horrific. This is not about just picking up the worst of the worst. If someone commits a crime, they commit a felony, they're an immigrant, yes, they should be deported. But they're pulling American citizens. They're pulling people who are here legally. They're pulling people, into these internment centers that are victims of a broken immigration system that Congress refused to fix. I also worked on the last immigration reform bill that went through Congress in '86 with a congressman from Massachusetts. And Congress's job is to fix the system so that we can keep people out that shouldn't be here, that we can make sure that people that are coming to work to do the jobs that we need help doing, whether it's in agriculture or healthcare or any engineers, that they can come here, that there's a path to citizenship. I'm married to an American. I am a second-generation American, and under this administration, my family would not have been able to come into this country because they came in and they were laborers. They came in and they were, housekeepers. They were doing the work that nobody else would do. And fundamentally, what keeps me up at night is how do we hold this administration into account when they are not paying attention or following the Constitution? They feel like they are above the law.
Totally.
And that should scare everyone. Donald Trump has talked about not having elections in 2026, banning vote by mail, so you can have people standing in line and then, sending ICE there, right? This is not American, and every American should say that it's wrong, that our leaders should uphold the Constitution, that we have the right to vote, we have the right to assemble, we have the right to free speech, that the press should be able to report on things without getting sued. That's what keeps me up at night. Because I'm a student of history, we as Americans need to take back our country and run our country according to the foundation and the principles that it was built on, and that is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Final
question.
Yeah.
What brings you the most joy?
What brings me the most joy is coming back home. I get to live, I live out on the Mackenzie River with my husband and my grandchild, soon to be grandchildren, and then going and meeting with people, visiting with people across this district. These are really, really, really good people and getting to make a difference. But I love the coast. I honestly think I represent the most beautiful district in the United States, and fundamentally, I love coming back home. And grandchildren. I'm a big fan of grandchildren.
there is joy, joy, joy.
Yes.
I appreciate you being here, Congresswoman Val Hoyle. Thanks for coming to Lincoln City, and thanks for being on the podcast. We do appreciate your taking the time out. I know your schedule is tight. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thanks for doing local news. It's absolutely critical we keep that up.
Jay White is without question the best Neil Diamond performer on the planet. And Saturday, February 28th, Chinook Winds presents one unforgettable night of all the hits during the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert. Tickets start at just $25 and are available at the Chinook Winds box office, 888 Main Act, or at ChinookWinds.com. Don't miss the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert, February 28th at Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
And again, our special thanks to Congresswoman Val Hoyle for being with us today and bringing to us a different side of the political spectrum.
Yeah, and actually we didn't even get to some of the funding side of things that we thought we might be talking about.
Which directly reflects Lincoln City.
Yeah, so of course she represents the 4th District, and so this is just a quick summary of some of the funds that she just secured for Lincoln County here, but looks like a little over $1 million for the Central Oregon Coast Fire District for some emergency services. The headquarters there, upgrades there. $2 million for Lincoln City to support development of affordable housing. So that's huge get for our community. And again, $1 million for the community college as well for supporting their aquaculture technician training facility, it shows, which is, reaches into things like seafood processing, commercial fishing. I think it's all really going to basically go into the OCAT, as I understand. And then the last one into Lincoln County was, again, just slightly over $1 million for Siletz Valley Fire District. Again,
And this is all money coming from D.C. back into Lincoln County to help the residents that are here year-round. That is wonderful. And again, our thanks to Congresswoman Val Hoyle for taking the time out of her schedule, because this is a busy lady.
Yeah.
Other activities in and around the Lincoln City community on Wednesday, March 4th. We've got the Driftwood Library public meeting. On Monday, March 9th at 6 o'clock, City Council. Public Arts Committee meets on March 13th. and the Planning Commission on March 17th. So those are upcoming meetings here in the city of Lincoln City. Nescowan Valley School has a Family Friday enrichment program. This is for all kids, kindergarten through 6th grade. It is for education, exploration, and creativity. Homeschool children and students from other schools are invited to join the Nescowan Valley community on Fridays for a full day immersed in the educational philosophy and collaborative learning environment. So it's an interesting program. For more information about getting your child involved, go out to the Nescowan Valley School in Nescowan. Great Oregon Coast Garage Sale, Friday, April 17th. Register today up at the Lincoln City Chamber of Commerce office. Coming up on March 17th, the Kiwanis Club and the Rotary Club are joining hands to be up at Taft High School for a professional day. This is going to be on March 17th, 10 until 11:30. What can I expect is what they say, empower your future professional day students, and they'll connect with local professionals. Will be an interesting program.
Yeah, excited to be up there.
And if you'd like to help out with BB Camp out at Benai Breath, they have their annual spaghetti dinner April 30th, 5 until 6 o'clock. Susan Anderson would be a great person to contact and get reservations and tickets.
Yeah, it's great to hear that's already coming forward, and it reminds me that folks that are interested in participating in the educational realm, volunteer-wise, reach out to cascadehead.org for opportunities to participate.
Like what?
Well, so we have our field experiences that are coming up here in April and in May, and so we basically need folks to help participate in helping putting those events on, and they're first and second graders or fifth and sixth graders in some cases for this side of the school year. So send us an email. Education@cascadehead.org goes right to our director. That'd be a great way to get connected, and we'll get you kind of hopefully connected to helping serve more kids here in Lincoln City.
And last but not least, spring break is upcoming this month, March 23rd through the 27th, the most common week for Oregon. For Washington, it is April 6th through the 10th. And for Idaho, most common week is late March, typically March 16th through the 20th. So spring break is around the corner.
Yeah, so I think the sun has been peeking out a little bit more again. Of course, we had that really great dry spell in January for quite a while. But yeah, it's going to be nice to have spring show its face again.
At least we could say the word spring.
Okay, right.
Okay. Anything else your side of the table?
We are clear from here. Thanks.
So that'll do it to the Dunes on a Double R show. Please remember to like, subscribe, share so you, your family, and friends around the world or across the street can join us on a Double R show. For Son Paul and Jana, I'm Double R. Have a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grawn.